Fellow Ghanaians, thank you very much for joining us on Upfront on JoyNews channel. So it's 10 days for the governing NPP to organize parliamentary primaries in 165 constituencies where the party has sitting members of parliament. Well, 3 constituencies are on hold, and 1 constituency, Ayawaso West Wogon, has been declared by the party's National Executive Council as a no contest. So today on Upfront, we're finding out what will be happening on the 20th of June when the NPP goes for its parliamentary primaries. What are some of the key constituencies that you should be looking forward to? And so today we're focusing on one of those constituencies and talking about the constituencies that, will be keenly contested. Of course, you could talk about New Drubbing South, where current Member of Parliament Dr. Mark Esibe faces a stiff contest from Michael Ochebefi, who is CEO of the Ghana Free Zones Authority. Then you can also talk about Banatama. So Banatama is where current Member of Parliament and spokesperson on finance of the government, that's Daniel Aboagye, is facing a contest by the Deputy Chief of Staff, Francis Asenso-Boakye. And if you're talking about constituencies that will be keenly contested, we certainly would also talk about Dom Kwabenya, where the Ghana's High Commissioner to India, Mike Okyem Jr., makes a comeback, a second attempt in wanting to become Member of Parliament for Dom Kwabenya. So today we're focusing on Banatama. And as we talk about Banatama, in 2015, June 2015, Daniel Aboagye unseated then Member of Parliament Henry Kokofu by polling 289 votes to Henry Kokofu's 225 votes. Well, he made Henry Kokofu a one-term Member of Parliament. This year, and in 10 days' time, he faces a stiff contest. But I'm sure you are aware by now that as the chairman of the NPP in the Ashanti region, Bernard Ntribu-Esiako, Chairman Wontimi as they call him, was declaring some constituencies as a no-contest constituencies. He actually knelt and said, make Banatama a no-contest constituency. That was not to happen because he faces Francis Asenso-Boakye. So my guest this evening is Daniel Aboagye, Member of Parliament for Banatama, whom we'll be speaking with after this short break. My name is Winston Amoa, and this is Upfront on JoyNews. We'll be right back after the break. All right, so welcome back from that break, and thank you very much for staying with us. If you just joined us, this is Upfront on JoyNews. I am Winston Amoa, and today we've been joined by a Member of Parliament for Banatama, Daniel Aboagye, who's facing a contest by Francis Asenso-Boakye on the 20th of June 2020, and who represents the NPP for the Banatama constituency ahead of election 2020. Honorable Aboagye, thank you very much for joining us. I believe you're doing very well. Okay, so I think it's a bit of a challenge with Honorable Daniel Aboagye's audio. We'll get back to him shortly. But I've told you of how in 2015 he unseated then Member of Parliament, that's Henry Kokofu, who are taking over from current Sanitation and Water Resources Minister Cecilia Banatama. You know that the Banatama constituency was one that many of you looked forward to in those days. The fact that the NPP used to poll in excess of 80,000 around 1996, 2000, and then the NDC would get about 8,000, 10,000, 18,000 until it was split. So it was split, and then you had then Member of Parliament for Banatama, that's Dr. Richard Anani, moving to become Member of Parliament for Nshire. So when it happened like that, Cecilia Banatama became Member of Parliament for Banatama in 2004, and then she decided not to contest again in 2012, paving way for Henry Kokofu to become Member of Parliament, who was unseated in 2015. So let's get back to Daniel Aboagye, who's Member of Parliament for Banatama now. Honorable Aboagye, good evening, and thank you very much for joining us.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, I can hear you clearly. I believe you're doing very well.
I'm doing just fine.
And
very fine.
The campaigning, how is it going?
Well, at least for now, let me say good evening to our listeners. For now, we know when the D-Day is going to be. That provides some level of certainty. And we've been working on a campaign for quite some time now, I would say it's okay. It's been okay.
Your okay doesn't seem very optimistic. I mean, you're on the ground. I know you're in Banatama now. I know you're campaigning. You don't sound like one who's very optimistic of victory. What's the issue?
There is no issue. Don't underestimate my posture. You talk about the history of how I unseated Honorable Kokofu, and I actually unseated him and I brought NPP to power, right? As we said, a historic, right? I wasn't that known in the constituency, right? But I'm a strategist. So when I say it's okay, it's very conservative. Take it like that, I say it's okay. There's going to be a win, honestly. But ultimately, the decision is a decision of people. So they have to decide. I believe that when we came in 2015, 16, we took our record from 83% to almost 89% after 7 months house to house. That was historic. That's never happened. In fact, when people said the president could not become president, our opposition said that some time ago, we changed that narrative. The president that was somehow said to be impossible, we made it possible. And that was by the dint of hard work and so much planning and strategy and do your SWOT analysis and see what their strengths are and all those. But you do that very, very conservatively.
Okay.
And you don't have to pamper yourself or think like it's going to be what it is. But at the end of the day, we came in, done very well, we distinguished ourselves. So the people will have a reason to either say, let's continue or let's say no. But I know they're going to decide wisely, and it's going to be my favor.
Let's look at your strategy. You talk about how your strategies, and so in 2015, help us. What strategy worked for you in 2015 against Henry Kokofu?
What strategy worked for me in 2016?
Yes, I mean in the primaries of 2015.
2016. If you want me to give a name to it, I'll call it the tsunami strategy.
You call it a what?
And this time it's the tsunami.
Oh, a tsunami strategy.
Just you by surprise. And this time it's called submarine.
Okay. So let's look at the difference between a tsunami and a submarine.
Yes.
Tell me the difference between the tsunami strategy of 2015 and the submarine strategy of 2020. Honorable Aboagye, tell me. Well, so I think that we need to work on Honorable Aboagye.
Well, when I use my earphone, you can't hear me, but
I think it's better if you don't use it so we can hear you very well for now. And then we'll rectify that later. Yeah, so help us understand the difference between the tsunami strategy and the submarine strategy.
But of course, come on, we have about a couple of days, about a week or so to go for this, to finalize this contest. You don't expect me to come on national platform and tell you what's going on.
But you see, you actually, one of the persons who's been accused, for instance, of vote buying in 2015. You're accused of, using financial muscle in 2015 to unseat Honorable Kokofu, the fact that you promised people, a lot of goodies, if we could put it that way, and that actually worked for you. Is that the same approach this time around?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. So I promised people what?
In 2015, you were accused of vote buying. The fact that you promised you're going to,
No. It's because you guys didn't know. You guys are just hearing things, and that is not the case. It wasn't vote buying. Vote buying for what?
What was it?
When I came to Parliament, you have seen what the package that Banatama brought is. I can tell you for a fact, and you can ask all my colleagues in Parliament that I didn't buy a vote. I brought some competence. I'm a typical guy from Banatama constituency, well-educated, well-developed, blessed if you want to hear. I came to support my people. I led the team. We won the primaries, and we also won for the president. And so what is vote buying about is when you come to an election in 2015, you see that there's a problem in the constituency in terms of cash flow, and you end up promising the people and delivering a work campaign strategy to help facilitate welfare issues and party issues. You call it vote buying? No, come on. We are bigger than that. That didn't happen. The people decided right. They brought a very good material to Parliament. Today, even our friends in the opposition are saying that Okyem is an asset to Parliament. So I wouldn't consider to be a vote buying, except you don't know who you're talking about. And soon my book will be out. You will see that, I wouldn't want to say too much. You will see that with though backbencher, though fresh MP, the kind of things I've done in my constituency, quite historic. Over 120 projects and programs that are historic in the constituency. And that's just because we meant well. In Banatama, he called it vote buy, but what happened, for instance? You brought 89% to the table.
Just by way of clarification.
You provided opportunity.
Just by way of clarification, so that we move to, I mean, what you're going to do differently now. Let's focus on this upcoming primary. So you've talked about how you came in and you realized that there were cash flow issues and how you decided to support your people. How did you support them? By providing them with taxis or vehicles? Is that what you did?
Yes, of course. If party activities are driven by expenditure, and you have a party that has been in opposition for almost 8 years, and then you step out there, you see that there's a problem, and then you have a friend, and then you make a promise, I'll do this for you if I have the opportunity, to ensure that you can fish for yourself, so that when people are suffering, when they are invited to programs, funerals, birthday parties, weddings, we can go and represent our party very, very well. In fact, I went on the principle of helping people to fish for themselves, not fishing for them. So here's a friend supported me and said, here is some money, Daniel, you can really buy these people some work and pay package. And I'm giving this money to you for free, support your people, no interest, pay whenever you are ready to pay for them. And that's okay, my folks. Yeah, what do you call it? Some 10 taxes for 10 electoral areas. You take it, let's get the money in 2 years and put it back wherever we took it. No interest, nothing, let's just work and pay. And then after you do that, then it becomes a property that generates income for you to do party activities. 25% of the proceeds was supposed to take care of the car, 50% of the proceeds was supposed to go to party people to support their welfare, and 25% was supposed to go to the community. If anybody needs help, is sick, there's an emergency, you use the fund to support that. Of course, after a year, I forgive them, and the cars are still working. It's been almost 4 or 5 years now, and they're still working, and that's how I did it. I didn't want to be sitting in Parliament and they call you, someone is sick, someone is dead, someone is dead. No. Focus on the constituency welfare issues. I'll focus on the big ticket items for our common good. And that's what I did. And it's not wrong. I don't see anything wrong with that.
So well, the law says that anything that you do that would influence voters would amount to vote buying. But in moving on, you have talked about, you know, how you are a strategist and you're coming with a submarine approach this time. So why did you beg Chairman Wontumi to declare your constituency and no contest?
Oh, come on, that was false. That was totally false. I have no reason to beg Chairman Wontumi after I've helped him to win victory for the party. What do you call it? It was a lie, a total lie. What happened was that Chairman Wontumi had come to our constituency. I was the host MP. And in course of the presentation, the regional came to our constituency. And then they wanted to tell delegates that we should come together and support the party, and that the delegates that were there, over 500 people, should forgive himself and any of the regional executives or even people if they haven't done well by them or they haven't done well for them. And then in the process, he went down on his knees. The regional chairman was on his knees saying that let's forgive each other in case there were even problems, because these are human institutions and definitely challenges are supposed to come. And so he knelt down. If you're a smart MP, a host MP, and your regional chairman has gone down begging those people. I also followed him and begged the people that will also be deciding my fate. It wasn't him I begged. I begged the people, the delegates. So they twisted the news, and of course, negative news make a lot of mileage. So that's what happened. It wasn't true. I'm an honorable member of Parliament. Trust me, I can tell you what exactly what happened. I wasn't begging him for anything. No way. Listen, let me say this.
You never said that you know your constituency should be declared as one of those no contest in the Ashanti region?
Well, but the question is, if you are declaring constituencies, if you have the power to do that, you should consider Banatama. What is wrong with that?
So you made that statement.
Oh, that one I did. That if for any reason you think people should not go for contest, look at what we have done in Banatama constituency by setting a new record of 89%, specifically 88.4%. And you are considering people, there is any other criteria to consider people. I speak for the party, I'm distinguishing myself in parliament, I gave you a historic vote. Why not? Come on. You know, I am not afraid of contest because ultimately, it is the people of Banatama constituency that will decide. And if you're a Christian, don't forget, whatever God does is good. You have to make a case for them and let them decide on it. For instance, we are talking about in Ghana, we are talking about the registration, blah, 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 all those things. Elections are going to be won by what we have done. The NPP government, to be honest with you, we have done very well. We have too many programs that are going on that we need time to finish. We'll make the case. It's not going to be a rigging issue or not. In the same way in my constituency, come and listen to the people that are down there, what they are saying. We are fed up and tired of changes.
So
because
by way of
in the present governance, for instance, the present government, MPP government, we have people in places from our constituency. Why would you want to say if you have Ronaldo and Messi in your team, you want to throw one of them away? Come on. That would be just suicidal.
So who are you then? If you talk about Ronaldo and Messi in a team, who are you?
Who am I? I'm a defender, so...
Well, you're talking about Ronaldo and Messi.
Messi and Ronaldo. My friend, my opponent calls himself Ronaldo. So definitely by default, I'll be Messi.
Okay, so you are Messi and you're seeking to beat Ronaldo to this, or the fact that you're Messi and...
I don't think I want to be Ronaldo per se. What I think we need in Banatama constituency, and the US, they will tell you, there is power in numbers, is to have as many as we can in the present government. If you do your SWOT analysis of Banatama constituency, I think this is our best time in history, where you have somebody that sits close to the president, and you have an MP in the finance committee who is also a government spokesperson, a first-time MP that is delivering for the party, for the constituency, and for the nation, and even at international level, supporting Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Information with government communication. Why do you want to mess up with it? Come on, it doesn't make sense.
So let's look at one thing. We'll come back to what you're doing, but let me just get back to the wound to me thing, because you say, oh, if you're declaring, you see it more as a request. Some would say it's a plea. Let's take it as a plea. Now, for you, somebody who actually unseated a first-timer, that's Henry Kokofu,
yes,
first-time MP, why would you make such a request? Isn't that hypocritical that you would want a no contest when a contest brought you and you unseated a first-timer?
There's nothing wrong about that. If you unseat an opposition MP and you are able to bring a president to power, you get a deputy chief of staff from your constituency, you get a minister of sanitation in your constituency, you get an MP in your constituency, minister of sanitation in your constituency, and you get the MP you are seated to become a deputy CEO of a company. Come on, the exchange is quite fair. So at that point in time, we needed resources, people, energy. As a party that had been in opposition for the last 8 years, we needed resources, fresh energies, and all those things. So even though it probably be unfair to say that, but what is the output? What is the outcome? Because of what we did today, in Banatama, we have about 5 people in the government. I'm in parliament, there are 4 others in the government, in executive that are doing well. that is on a stage you don't even want to talk about. We need to do what we had to do to give all those people opportunity to serve our country. And that I don't consider to be a problem. And of course, when I also went to Parliament, I've also learned a few lessons. The more you stay, the longer you stay in Parliament, the more experience you get, and therefore you have to leverage that to help your constituency, you have to leverage that to help the country, you have to leverage that to help your party. And that is actually what happened. So, and as let's begin, it happened, but it happened for good reasons, my friend. So now we're in power.
So this bit about, if I
we'll give you opportunity. You just come and kick us out, especially when you have something to do. That's quite unfair.
When you say you can't come and kick us out when you have something to do, are you making reference to Francis and Aboagye? You think he has something to do, and so he should stay there?
Asensu is my friend, and now I'll call it, is my friend and my opponent, and he will forever remain my friend. It doesn't matter the outcome of this election. The biggest opposition is not within us. The biggest opposition that needs to be defeated years and years in the 2020 and 2024 and even beyond is NDC. Not just these primaries that we have to go. This is just it's a process that we have to go through. And so that is where the focus is.
Did you speak to him to step down at any point?
The what?
Did you talk to Francis and Aboagye to probably shelve his ambition for another 4 years? Oh,
actually, I spoke to him. Let me say this probably for the record. When I was, by the way, Asensu is my friend, if you want to know. Our friendship started as far back as 1993, when his sister introduced him to me as a younger brother. Now he's a big guy in government. And then I started helping him with economics and government. I used to teach A-level students economics and government. I taught him and his wife A-level economics and government.
Oh, okay.
Chubaku Secondary School, and also doing vacation classes and stuff like that. I used to teach vacation classes. I mean, from 94 to 2000, from 94 to 1999, I had taught close to about 2,500 people all over the country. So he's my friend. He became a friend that way. I went for his graduation in the US from Chicago to Detroit. When he was contesting Honorable Kokovo, I donated about $1,000 to support him. And we'd be friends. So regardless of what the outcome. So when I was actually entering the race, I was never approached by my opponent, okay, at that time, Honorable Kokovo. He had approached me and explained things to me. I probably would have understood him. Because when I got to Parliament, I realized that if you want your constituency to really benefit, you need a little bit of stability there so that you can go from class 1 to class 2 in that order. So if he had approached me and explained to me, my brother, you know what, instead he was actually insulting me. You are not now, you've gone to America and getting some money and blah, 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 and saying all sort of things. Eventually the people decided. So when I saw that you need stability to progress in Parliament, and you also need stability to progress even as a nation, I had to approach my brother who had indicated his intention to, to contest. So I went to his house, right? I said, let's meet in the house. This is what I've discovered in Parliament. For the sake of Banatama stability for progress, can we work something out? Don't forget, this is not, this is not strange. The US, you can collaborate in competition. It is done everywhere. So can we work something out? And he said, okay, I'm thinking about it, okay? So ultimately, I saw him just doing what he had to do. And then eventually, I went through a few other people. I went for the third term, not to say beg, but if you truly love Banatama constituency, you don't lose anybody that we have now. So if you should ask me, anybody who tried to say we should create further instability in Banatama constituency, I would say the person really doesn't love Banatama constituency. Because we need that stability to progress. There's power in numbers. We have the opportunity right now. You bring whatever you can bring. I bring whatever I can bring. Together, we build the constituency. And time is on our side. We can work it out. So why do you want to do that? Why do you want to put all our eggs in one basket? Not because I'm afraid, because ultimately, when the will of God will be done, ultimately the people will decide. And whatever they decide, we have to respect it because we are in a democracy. And that is who I am. You know, in my father's house are many mansions. Right? So if your government still remains in power, definitely something else may come up.
Are you disappointed that after
just take you to this angle a little bit.
Were you disappointed that after all the meetings
I can barely hear you, sorry.
I'm asking whether you're disappointed that after the meetings you had with him, he still decided to contest you?
I am not disappointed because our party believes in democracy. And I believe in the party. And so we have to go through the process and the motions. Right? I wish we could have some gentleman agreement so that we can work something out. But if it didn't work, the people have been told about this story and they will have to decide. They will look at what you have done, what you did when you came in, what you are doing, the number of projects that are in progress, and the fact that you speak for the party. They will look at their job, basically.
Okay.
And they have to look about 120 projects and programs that are historic in Banatama constituency and let them decide. It's their decision. And whatever they decide, you've got to respect it. And then look at ways that you can help your country. Don't forget, some of us, we relocated from America after about 14 years. Right? Travel, worked in senior positions in corporate America as financial controller, a chartered accountant with 2 MBAs, and coming to support your country. If you get opportunity to do it at a higher level, like governmental level or any level, you do it. Otherwise, we have also done some private support that we employ people that are in the hundreds, close to 1,000. So definitely, the reason we came back, some of us came back from America, is to come and support the Mother Ghana development agenda.
Okay.
And so we're only hoping that people will see what we have brought from wherever we went, the experiences we are bringing to bear, and give us opportunity. And that is the case. But this is a democracy. So the will of the people is said to be the will of God.
Great.
We go, we make our case. Definitely, one person will win, the other person will lose. And regardless of the outcome, unite and defeat NDC and continue to run this country.
Great. So we'll go for a short break. When we return, we'll find out why you think you're the best man for Banatama, the things that you've done. You're talking about historic programs and projects. We'll get into all of those things also. And what would happen if you're unsuccessful? This is our front on JoyNews. I'm Winston Amwa, and our guest this evening is Daniel Okyem, Aboagye, Member of Parliament for Banatama. When we return, the discussions continue. All right, so welcome back from that short break, and thank you very much for staying. If you just joined, this is Upfront on JoyNews channel, and our focus is on the governing NPP's parliamentary primaries, and tonight we've been joined by a Member of Parliament for Banatama, Daniel Okyem Aboagye, who's facing Francis Asensubuache, Deputy Chief of Staff, on June 20th, 10 days away. So tell us, Honorable Okyem Aboagye, why do you think that the people of Banatama are going to choose you? What is it that you've done that convinces you so much that you're going to win this?
There are many, many reasons why I believe that the people of Banatama should consider me for the second term. And that is because of who I am. I am one of their own. I am very approachable, very honest, very transparent. I've not done anything in that actually tints my personality. I believe I've represented them very well so far in Parliament. I believe also that I have what it takes. I bring a lot of competence to what I do as a person. I mean, I believe that a boy from Banatama constituency with 2 MBAs from the US, a BSc Administration Accounting from University of Ghana, and a Chartered Accountant CPA from the US, with about 14 years experience working in corporate America. It's a lot of things to bring on the table. I wouldn't say this for no reason. I've traveled around the world, about 41 countries so far, and mostly I used to work setting up banks. As I speak today, we have one of the biggest microfinance company in Ghana that was 13 years this 7th June. 25 branches in 9 regions. Our companies employ close to about 700 people if you should add the few companies that I sit on the board for. We came to Ghana to support. So even if we don't have political money, you can support the people with employment and a few other things and I've been doing it. Over 100 people get employed from with my companies, me and my friends' companies. It's been proud to maybe becoming an MP, from Banatama constituency. All right. And so we also come to the performance level. We hold the best record in Bantama's history of almost 89% from 83%. In fact, during the 2016 election, the number of votes that NDC got was in 2012 was 9,700. I brought them back to as low as 6,003. All right. And we have that record. If you come to performance at the various level, go to Parliament and speak to any of the parliamentarians, even choose friends from the opposition. All right, I believe as a first timer, I've learned very quickly. Banatama doesn't have to reinvent the wheel. It is time for me to apply what I've learned in my first time to the benefit of both Parliament and my constituents. Why do you want to go and start from class one again when you need some stability to make progress? So even speak to our friends in the opposition. Anabu Muntaka will tell you, Okyem is an asset to Parliament. Because in Parliament also we need people that are competent, that are experienced enough to bring a lot of debate to the floor and help. So a Parliament, that is the record. I'm one of few people that speak for the Finance Committee in Parliament. I also speak as a government spokesperson for our government and our party. And that is not something that is easy. It requires a lot of learning, and you have to learn fast. My learning curve has been very short if you get to know. Come to the committee level. I am always present. I'm always making contributions, and I'm always representing my party everywhere I've given the opportunity. And so you speak to the chairman of the Finance Committee or chairman of Road and Transport Committee, and even ad hoc committees. Wherever I am put, I will do well.
Yeah,
so
but
if you come to even, let me just make this point. If you come to the international level, I've been on a few trips with the Minister of Finance. I know how to work with the white people. And when I sit around the tables in World Bank or IMF, I'm representing my country. The color of the white man will not bully me because I've been there, worked with them, and know what they're capable of doing. So with all these, including the over 120 projects and programs and activities that I've done, I think I have enough case to say, to ask. It's just fair that if he brought President Akufo-Addo to power, it's just fair that a good term, one good term, deserves another, and that should be extended to any MP that join hands to achieve that record of over 1 million votes when we won the victory.
You're saying
so those are the questions.
You're saying that because, the votes you gained in Banatama, the work you did helped, Akufo-Addo win election 2016, people should vote for you. Others would also say, well, if you look at the trend, every 8 years there's always dwindling of electoral fortunes of, a political party, particularly those in government. And so if it was 8 years' time and the NPP had to win, they won. Why are you claiming credit for Akufo-Addo's victory?
You're talking about, then you haven't looked at the trend. Check it out. Look at the trend properly. It was 8 years when we came to power from, after we boycotted the 1992 election. We came in 1996. So it was 8 years, but when we came in 2000, when we won the power, it was 82%.
Yes.
That was another segment of 8 years of being in opposition, if you should look at the Fourth Republic. But we got 82% in our history. I came, we had been in power and in opposition for 8 years, and they gave you 89 almost. So they're not comparable. You are comparing oranges to apples. It was a dint of hard work, having a clear man of where your party was, where you want to get to, and devising ways and means and mobilizing the resources to come and put on it.
Okay.
And win the power. In fact, if you should speak to the Napo, the Napo is the director of transport at the Jubilee House. One time he visited me prior to the 2016 election, and I showed him a plan that I had put together for even the entire Ashanti region and what Banatama was going to do. And the plan was 90-90. 90% of people must come out to vote, and when they vote, we must win 90% of the votes that are cast. Guess what happened? We got people to come in, and when they voted, we got 89% almost. It was a clear plan. We're not just going and just doing things anyhow.
Okay.
We had a plan, we sat in a room, we planned, and we went out there, implemented, and delivered. We'll
get to the 120 projects briefly, but you make a point that you don't have to start from class 1 again. So Banatama doesn't have to start from class 1. An indication that a vote for Aboagye is like Banatama constituency in the scheme of things starting from class 1?
A vote for me will be a fair vote, to be a vote of appreciation for the hard work done. A vote for Aboagye will be a vote for continuity. A vote for Aboagye will be a vote for true love, because you are not putting all your eggs in one basket. A vote for Aboagye will mean that we need more than just one person in these times, especially when our government is in power. A vote for Aboagye will mean that stay your ground, stay where you are, and continue to help us. Will bring one, you bring two. It's three. Don't combine the X. A vote for Aboagye will mean that both Ronaldo and Messi are in the same team. Any other vote, in my opinion, will be devilish and suicidal for the constituency.
Will be what? Devilish?
Yeah, because you don't love the constituency. If you don't love the constituency, you hate it. It's not good.
Really?
I mean, maybe devilish might be a big word. It means you are hurting the person because you are hurting the constituency. A vote for me will be listening to the people on the ground. We are fed up of the instability. We need stability. This is the voice of the masses. But guess what? The decision is not mine. The decision is the people's.
So you are saying that, I mean, a vote against you, that's in effect a vote for Aboagye, would amount to hurting.
I didn't say that.
No, hold on.
I chose my words very carefully.
You chose your words. No, I'm actually.
I said, listen to me. This, let me say this.
Yes.
Maybe probably if you're uncomfortable with the devilish, a vote for me, right, or a vote, any other vote, if it's not in my favor, will mean that we want to actually destroy the constituency.
Yes. So a vote which is not in your favor, which you say is devilish, which you say is hurting the party, means you want to destroy the party. In this case...
destroy the constituency.
Destroy the constituency. Right. I mean, destroy the party in the constituency. In this case, there are two of you. So it's either going to go your way or his way.
Yes.
And you're saying if it goes his way, it's destroying the party in the constituency. It's hurting the party.
I don't want to talk about things going his way because, truly speaking, when I speak before delegates who are going to vote, I'm able to call them out that vote against my brother so that he can go back there and continue to help us. All right, okay? But if we are saying that we have a son, we have two sons, that one is in higher place and helping the constituency, or let's say two people, two doctors from Banatama constituency, one is in the UK, one is in US, and the family sits down and resolve that the one in US should come and stay home for the only person in the game to stay there and help the family. What are you doing? You must be holding the gun to your head to make that kind of decision. And what is that? How will you call that? Do you really love the constituency? When we have two people that are in good places, young guys, that can grow to become whatever, we must unite and together bring as many things as we can get. We have to unite and develop the constituency. You bring one from Parliament, I bring two from the executive, or whoever you can get it from. For instance, let me give you an example.
Go ahead.
Recently, I donated an anesthetic machine, anesthesia machine, to a hospital, the only hospital we have in true Banatama constituency called the Sintresi Hospital. That was money that I saved from a National Health Insurance Fund.
Okay.
The machine was close to about 100,000 Ghana cedis. All right. And guess what I did? So I went there, I had visited the hospital, they told me they had a problem. They only have one anesthesia machine, to the point that even 2 years ago, a woman died because they had to do surgery. Somebody was on the machine. So they end up losing the pregnant woman with a child. Okay. So from that point on, I was never happy. So I saved my money and I delivered, guess what? I delivered the machine to them a couple of weeks ago. In panic response, my friend, my opponent, brought a used ambulance to deliver to the same hospital. And we told him, that is why we are telling you they stay there. Okyem brings one, we bring 2. And it's 3. So why do you want us to lose one? That is just the message. It will be, truly speaking, to be very, very, very bad if the people decide against me. But guess what? Who am I? I am only a candidate for an upcoming primary. I believe I've distinguished myself in communicating for the party. I believe I've done well by certain history. I donated 10 taxis to support welfare issues. I represent my party in parliament well. I've been international trips to represent my country and even my constituency. And so I believe I've done well, but the decision is the decision of the people. And I will respect whatever they decide, except to say that it is my hope and my prayer that their decision will be in my favor.
Let's go for our final break. When we return, we'll look at the 120 projects that you say you've done briefly, and we'll also find out a few more things, particularly on the national front. Your spokesperson on finance. My guest is Daniel Aboagye, Member of Parliament for Banatama, who goes to the polls in 10 days to decide his fate as to whether he gets to represent the NPP again in the 2020 election as a parliamentary candidate, knowing that Banatama is a safe seat for the NPP. A win for him certainly would be bringing him back to Parliament. This is Upfront on JoyNews. I'm Winston Amwa. We'll be right back after the break. All right, so welcome back from our final break on Upfront on JoyNews channel, where my guest this evening is Daniel Aboagye, Member of Parliament for Banatama. So, Aboagye, briefly, also because of our time, you've talked about how you've executed some 120 projects. What are they? Briefly, what are those projects?
Well, I chose my words very carefully. We are talking about 120 projects and programs.
Yes.
All right. So if you want to talk about, some of them are soft, some of them are hard. So you go to in the area of security, for instance, we are building 2 police stations, one at Banatama constituency, one at Okyem Amamfrom electoral areas. Banatama electoral area from Amamfrom. Today, as I speak to you, with the help of government, we are building 2 kindergartens over there. We also, by government help, we've also been able to got some roads and bridges, 3 bridges that were very important. Through our lobbying and reporting and following up and monitoring, don't forget I'm also a member of the Road and Transport Committee. We've been able to get all those 3 done. We have 3 more that remain outstanding. The government has constructed roads for us in the area of Mpatasie, Abripo, Aduatu, Edumenu, Neoplan Prempeh College Road. All those things have been asphalted. And through our lobbying, there was a time that the president came. There was a bridge called Samad Bridge in Boshen, Abripo, Kesi area that we lobbied, and we got a president to come and inspect the final job done. At that inspection, the president said, in the midst of a lot of people, said, you guys should be grateful or be thankful to the Minister of Roads and Highways, your MP, Member of Parliament, and also the contractor. So these things, we, of course, it's now our responsibility to be doing roads as MP legally, by the Constitution, but you facilitate this. In terms of good governance, I've been very transparent, accounted for, my common fund. I've sponsored people with financial assistance, more than 400 people. This might look small, but historic in Banatama constituency. I have also I was able to bus about 350 constituents, many of them being delegates, to come and just have an experience in Parliament. It might sound very small, but it is a lot.
An experience where?
To come and witness parliamentary proceedings.
Oh, okay.
And to have and every 100 people that came, a cost was around 18,000. I've done close to about 400. I've invited schools to come. I've done town hall meetings. In 2017, I did 10 each electoral area. We will go out there, make an announcement for 3 days, and go to each electoral area. In 2018, I did 50% of the polling stations, which is 120. In 2019, I invited 1,400 opinion leaders to come and have a conversation. Most of them were also delegates. I've always had an open conversation to listen to people. I've provided 10 taxis for welfare issues. I have also been able to participate in communal activities and other things, just so you soften the ground for the people to feel, because I sincerely believe that government is of the people, by the people, and for the people. In the area of security, for instance, I bought 15 motorbikes.
Okay.
And I gave to each electoral area and also provided 5 of them to the police around our area. This is the Swami Divisional Police and Swami District Police that supervises us. And the idea was for security improvement. Through the help of my government and sometimes my common fund, we've been able to provide over 500 street light bulbs. Okay. And so when you do all these things, and I can give you the list, it will go on and on and on.
Exactly.
To be specific, it's about almost 130.
Finally, because of our time, I need to give you an opportunity to do this because of our time. So in 30 seconds, why should they vote for you?
She voted for me because I believe when I was given the mantle, I've delivered, I've performed in Parliament, I've performed in the constituency, I've been there, I've been very humble and approachable, and I represent the people, a good servant leader with competence and whatever it takes. Look at my records and let's see what we can do going forward. I have a lot of plans for the constituency, and as a son of the constituency, I sincerely believe that I need to continue. But get this, in the US, we will say, may the best person win. My basis, my slogan is that God is God. And I believe that the will of God will be done.
The will of God will certainly be done come Saturday, the 20th of June, 2020.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Daniel Okyem Aboagye, for joining us today on Our Front. That we all from us, fellow Ghanaians. My name is Winston. I'm on behalf of the team led by Samuel Gami. Do have a lovely evening. Up next is JoyNews Prime.